Imagine approaching the coast of Egypt in the year 48 BC. For days, your ship has crossed the Mediterranean Sea. Endless blue water stretches in every direction. Sailors watch the horizon, while merchants protect valuable cargo stored below deck. The journey has been long, but now excitement begins to spread among the crew. Something has appeared in the distance. At first, it looks like a pale shape rising from the sea. Then, as the ship draws closer, its true size becomes clear. A massive tower stands above the coastline, shining brilliantly beneath the Egyptian sun. This is the Lighthouse of Alexandria. Known as the Pharos, it is one of the greatest wonders of the ancient world. Towering more than 100 meters above the harbor, it guides sailors safely to shore. By day, its white stone walls can be seen from miles away. By night, a great fire burns at its summit, helping ships navigate the dangerous coastline. For travelers arriving in Egypt, the lighthouse is more than a landmark. It is the symbol of Alexandria itself. Powerful, wealthy, and unlike any city on earth. As our ship enters the harbor, the scale of the city begins to reveal itself. Hundreds of vessels crowd the water. Merchant ships from Greece, grain ships from the Nile, trading vessels from Syria and Phoenicia, fishing boats returning with their daily catch. Everywhere there is movement. Dockworkers unload cargo. Officials inspect incoming ships. Sailors shout orders across the busy waterfront. The harbor never seems to stop. Alexandria is the beating heart of Mediterranean trade. Goods arrive here from 3 continents. Spices from Arabia, ivory from Africa, wine from Greece, textiles from Asia Minor, grain from Egypt's fertile farmlands. Everything flows through Alexandria. The city has become one of the richest places in the ancient world. Less than 3 centuries earlier, none of this existed. The city was founded in 331 BC by Alexander the Great, the Macedonian conqueror whose empire stretched from Greece to India. Recognizing the importance of Egypt's coastline, Alexander chose this location for a new city that would connect east and west. Although he died before seeing it completed, his vision survived. Under the rule of the Ptolemies, Alexandria expanded rapidly. New districts appeared. Grand temples were built. Massive public buildings transformed the shoreline. Merchants and scholars arrived from across the known world. By 48 BC, Alexandria has become one of the largest cities on Earth. Stepping onto the docks, we immediately feel its energy. People of many cultures walk the streets together. Greeks, Egyptians, Jews, Romans, traders from distant lands. Different languages fill the air. Different styles of clothing pass by every minute. Alexandria is more than an Egyptian city. It is a crossroads of civilizations. The smell of salt water mixes with exotic spices from foreign markets. Camels carry cargo inland. Porters haul crates through crowded streets. Merchants negotiate deals worth fortunes. Everywhere we look, wealth and opportunity are visible. Yet despite its impressive harbor, towering lighthouse, and bustling markets, Alexandria is famous for something far more valuable than gold: knowledge. Somewhere beyond these busy streets stands a place unlike anything the world has ever seen. A place dedicated to collecting the wisdom of every civilization. A place where scholars gather to study the mysteries of the universe. A place whose name will survive for more than 2,000 years. The Great Library of Alexandria. And that is where our journey will soon take us. Leaving the harbor behind, we enter the city itself. Immediately, Alexandria feels different from most ancient cities. Many cities of the ancient world grew slowly over centuries, resulting in narrow streets and confusing layouts. Alexandria was different. It was planned from the beginning. Wide avenues stretch across the city in straight lines. Large public squares connect important districts. Marble columns line major roads. The city feels organized, elegant, and surprisingly modern. As we walk along one of the main avenues, crowds move around us from every direction. Merchants push carts loaded with goods. Porters carry baskets on their shoulders. Government officials travel between administrative buildings. Citizens gather beneath shaded colonnades to escape the Egyptian heat. Everywhere there is activity. Everywhere there is commerce. Alexandria's markets are among the busiest in the Mediterranean world. Vendors display colorful fruits and vegetables grown along the Nile. Fish from the Mediterranean are arranged on wooden tables. Bakers sell fresh bread to passing customers. The air is filled with countless smells. Spices from Arabia, perfumes from Egypt, freshly baked bread, incense burning before small shrines. The city feels alive. One of Alexandria's greatest strengths is its diversity. People from across the ancient world live and work here. Greek settlers walk beside native Egyptians. Roman visitors conduct business with local merchants. Jewish communities thrive within their own neighborhoods. Travelers from distant regions arrive daily through the harbor. Different languages echo through the streets. Greek is heard most often, but Egyptian, Latin, Hebrew, and many others can be heard as well. Alexandria is not simply a city. It is a meeting place between cultures. This mixture is visible in the architecture itself. Some buildings resemble those found in Greece, with elegant columns and grand facades. Others reflect older Egyptian traditions. Temples dedicated to Greek gods stand not far from temples honoring ancient Egyptian deities. Rather than replacing one culture with another, Alexandria combines them. The result is a city unlike any other. As we continue walking, we pass residential districts filled with comfortable homes. Wealthy merchants live in large houses surrounding private courtyards. Gardens provide shade from the sun. Fountains cool the air. Servants move between rooms carrying supplies and messages. Nearby, ordinary workers live above their shops and workshops. Potters shape clay vessels. Metal workers create tools and decorative objects. Textile makers produce cloth for local markets. Like every great city, Alexandria depends on people from every level of society. Yet there is something unusual about this city. Among the merchants, craftsmen, and officials, another group is everywhere. Scholars. Men carrying scrolls hurry through the streets. Teachers lead discussions beneath shaded walkways. Students gather around respected philosophers. Ideas seem to move through Alexandria as quickly as trade goods. Knowledge is highly valued here. The rulers of the city actively support learning. They invite thinkers from distant lands. They fund research. They collect books and manuscripts. As a result, Alexandria has become the intellectual capital of the ancient world. Many of the brightest minds alive today have traveled here. Some come to teach. Others come to learn. Many come because there is nowhere else like it. As the afternoon sun shines across the city, we begin to notice more and more people carrying bundles of papyrus scrolls. Some walk alone, deep in thought. Others discuss mathematics, philosophy, or astronomy while moving between buildings. Their destination is the same as ours. Ahead lies the most famous institution in Alexandria, the place that transformed the city into the center of human knowledge. The Great Library. Within its walls are hundreds of thousands of scrolls collected from across the known world. Works of history, science, medicine, poetry, philosophy, knowledge gathered from generations of thinkers. As we approach the district where the library stands, the atmosphere begins to change. The markets grow quieter. The buildings become more impressive. Scholars pass by in increasing numbers. And just ahead, beyond a grand courtyard lined with columns, stands the institution that would become one of the most legendary places in human history. The Great Library of Alexandria. At last, we arrive at the place that made Alexandria famous throughout the ancient world. The Great Library. Even from the outside, it is impressive. Large courtyards surround the complex. Marble columns support covered walkways. Scholars, students, and visitors move between buildings carrying bundles of scrolls. This is not merely a library. It is the intellectual heart of the ancient world. As we pass through the entrance, the sounds of the city begin to fade. Inside, a different atmosphere exists. The noise of markets and harbor traffic is replaced by quiet conversations and concentrated work. Knowledge is the purpose here. Everything is designed to collect it, preserve it, and expand it. The rulers of Alexandria dreamed of creating something no civilization had ever attempted before. A place containing all human knowledge. Every important book. Every valuable record. Every great work of literature. Every scientific discovery. Their goal was ambitious. To gather the wisdom of the world under a single roof. As we enter one of the main halls, rows of wooden cabinets stretch along the walls. Inside them are scrolls. Thousands upon thousands of scrolls. Unlike modern books, Each work is written on sheets of papyrus rolled into long cylinders. Small labels identify their contents: history, poetry, philosophy, mathematics, medicine, astronomy. The collection seems endless. Ancient sources suggest the library may have contained hundreds of thousands of manuscripts. No one knows the exact number, but everyone agrees it was the largest collection of knowledge ever assembled in the ancient world. Scholars move carefully between the shelves. Some search for specific texts. Others compare different versions of the same work. A few sit quietly reading at long wooden tables. Everywhere, people are studying. Everywhere, people are learning. In another section of the library, scribes are hard at work. This room is one of the most important in the entire complex. Here, manuscripts are copied by hand. A reader slowly recites a text while several scribes write simultaneously. Their reed pens move across fresh sheets of papyrus. Hour after hour, day after day, the work is repetitive but essential. Without copying, knowledge disappears. Papyrus wears out. Scrolls become damaged. New copies must constantly be produced. The survival of entire books depends on these workers. As we continue through the library, we discover sections devoted to different subjects. One area contains literature. The poems of Homer are especially popular. Nearby are collections of plays, myths, and epic stories from across the Greek world. Another section focuses on history. Records of kings, accounts of wars, descriptions of distant lands, travel narratives from explorers and merchants. For scholars seeking to understand the past, this is an invaluable treasure. The scientific collections are equally remarkable. Astronomers study the stars and planets. Mathematicians examine geometry and numbers. Physicians research diseases and treatments. Researchers compare observations gathered over generations. Some of the greatest minds of antiquity have worked here. Many discoveries that shaped the ancient world were studied, debated, and preserved within these walls. What makes the library truly extraordinary is its international character. Knowledge arrives from every corner of the known world. Greek texts sit beside Egyptian records. Works from Persia, Babylon, and other civilizations become part of the collection. Ideas from different cultures meet in a single place. For perhaps the first time in history, scholars can compare the knowledge of multiple civilizations side by side. This exchange of ideas transforms Alexandria into the center of learning. Students travel thousands of miles to study here. Researchers come to access materials unavailable anywhere else. Teachers gather to share discoveries and debate new theories. The library becomes far more than a storage building. It becomes a living center of intellectual life. As sunlight streams through high windows, the work continues. Scribes copy manuscripts. Teachers instruct students. Researchers examine ancient texts. Every person here contributes to a larger mission: the preservation of human knowledge. Yet despite its greatness, the library's future is uncertain. Beyond the walls of Alexandria, political tensions are growing. Powerful armies move across the Mediterranean. Empires struggle for control. And soon, events far beyond the control of the scholars will place this extraordinary institution in danger. The collection that seems eternal today will face a crisis that historians still debate more than 2,000 years later. A fire, a war, and one of history's greatest mysteries. What exactly was lost when the Library of Alexandria began to disappear? For generations, the Great Library of Alexandria stood as the greatest center of knowledge in the ancient world. Its halls were filled with scholars. Its shelves held hundreds of thousands of scrolls. Its mission was simple but extraordinary: to preserve all human knowledge. Yet history would not be kind to Alexandria. In 48 BC, the city found itself caught in a conflict far larger than Egypt itself. The Roman Republic was in the middle of a civil war. One of its most famous leaders, Julius Caesar, arrived in Alexandria while pursuing his rival, Pompey. What began as a political struggle soon became a military crisis. Fighting broke out within the city. Armies clashed near the harbor. Ships filled the waterfront. Tension spread through Alexandria's streets. According to several ancient accounts, Caesar ordered ships in the harbor to be burned to prevent them from falling into enemy hands. The fire achieved its military purpose. But fires are difficult to control. Strong winds carried flames beyond the docks. Warehouses began to burn. Smoke rose above the city. And somewhere amid the chaos, part of Alexandria's vast collection of knowledge may have been destroyed. Exactly what happened remains one of history's greatest mysteries. Some ancient writers claim large numbers of scrolls were lost. Others suggest the damage was limited. A few accounts written closer to the events mention destruction near the harbor, but do not describe the complete loss of the library. Because of these conflicting reports, historians still debate the truth. Did Caesar destroy the Great Library? Or did the institution survive for centuries afterward before gradually declining? The answer may be somewhere in between. Many modern historians believe there was no single moment when the entire library vanished. Instead, the collection likely suffered multiple losses over hundreds of years. Wars, political instability, economic decline, neglect, changing rulers, all may have contributed to its disappearance. The famous image of one giant fire consuming all knowledge is dramatic, but reality was probably far more gradual. Yet even a partial loss would have been devastating. Imagine thousands of unique manuscripts disappearing forever. Works copied by hand over generations. Historical records, scientific observations, poetry, philosophy, mathematics. Each scroll represented years of effort, and many existed nowhere else. In the ancient world, knowledge was fragile. There were no printing presses, no digital archives, no backup copies stored around the globe. If a manuscript was destroyed and no duplicate survived, its contents could vanish forever. Entire books could disappear. Entire ideas could be forgotten. That is what makes the story of Alexandria so powerful. Not because we know exactly what was lost, but because we do not. Some of the missing works may have contained histories that no longer survive. Others may have preserved discoveries, observations, and stories that are now impossible to recover. The tragedy lies in the uncertainty. We can never know everything that vanished. Over the centuries, Alexandria continued to change. The city remained important. The harbor continued to operate. People continued to live, trade, and work there. But the golden age of the library slowly faded. Its collections shrank. Its scholars departed. Its buildings deteriorated. The dream of gathering all human knowledge in one place gradually disappeared. And yet, even as the library vanished, its reputation endured. People remembered Alexandria. They remembered the scholars. They remembered the scrolls. And they remembered the extraordinary ambition behind the institution. The idea that knowledge should be collected, protected, and shared would survive long after the library itself was gone. In fact, that idea would become the library's greatest legacy. Because while the building may have disappeared, the dream it represented never truly died. And more than 2,000 years later, humanity is still trying to achieve what Alexandria once attempted: to gather knowledge, to preserve it, and to pass it on to future generations. Today, the Great Library of Alexandria is gone. Its halls no longer stand. Its scrolls have largely vanished. Its scholars are long forgotten. Yet its influence remains everywhere. Every modern library owes something to Alexandria. Every university, every archive, every research institution. The idea that knowledge should be collected, organized, and preserved for future generations can be traced back to places like this. The scholars of Alexandria believed that learning mattered, that understanding the world mattered, that preserving knowledge was one of humanity's most important responsibilities. It is a belief we still share today. As we take one final look across ancient Alexandria, the city appears much as it did over 2,000 years ago. The harbor is crowded with ships. The lighthouse towers above the sea. Merchants fill the streets. And somewhere among the city's grand buildings stands the library, still alive with activity. Scholars continue reading. Scribes continue copying manuscripts. Students continue asking questions. For this brief moment in history, the world's knowledge is gathered here. A remarkable achievement, a fragile achievement, and one that would inspire generations long after its disappearance. The Great Library of Alexandria may be lost, but its dream survives. And perhaps that is why, after more than 2,000 years, the library remains one of the most fascinating places in human history. Not because of what we know about it, but because of what it represents. Humanity's endless desire to learn, discover, and understand the world.